come to think of it, there will be more episodes with Marius. I can't detach from. Indeed, his story would be worthwhile, and it would be better for you to switch the channel, see if he has a venue somewhere, TikTok, what they have today, Zoom, and listen to what he has to say, because I find that there is a treasure chest there, and only the fragments I know where we met, let's say, in our destinies. But who knows what he has, and I'm sure he has a lot elsewhere. I mean, in chapters which don't include me. So I'm thinking two other, not major events, but happenings that included me and this stranger. He was a stranger, a foreigner, and that gave him an advantage in the days of the Ceausescu regime, especially after the moment he decided, okay, I'm going to do anything, allow the people to starve, reminding one of the scene in History of the World by Mel Brooks, where they're in the Senate or something, and they debate something. It's not an exact quote, but what I make of it, and it's something we use. We took, not thrilling but nice, some of those Mel Brooks waiting in line for unemployment as a bullshit artist. He was a writer, but you bullshit. Did you bullshit last week? Try and bullshit next week to will cut your unemployment benefit. So this was one of the. I'm trying to think if this is what Marius brought, and very likely he did. I mean, 90% of the movies we saw were brought in by him. And as a stranger, I was saying, he had a special situation. He was allowed to travel around in his car. He was Jewish man born in Romania with a German citizenship and with a car registered in Germany. And Ceausescu decided, as I lost the thread with the joke. In the Roman Senate, they ask, so what do we do with the poor? We give them benefits and try and improve their destitution or something. And the answer of the Roman Senate is, fuck the poor. That's what Ceausescu thought. I mean, communism is not for the poor. It's not. I think I've read somewhere recently that George Orwell said at one moment about the socialists. They don't like the poor. They just hate the rich. Same thing here. So he said, okay, let's pay the debt and fuck the poor, fuck everybody. They're not allowed on the street with their cars for days, weeks on end. Then alternatively, if it snows a little, and under many circumstances there was no traffic, but Marius was allowed. So that was an interesting thing. Cut the current, there was no food, so much better. Look at North Korea, and then you see what I mean. And on this occasion, there were more, but this is one I remember. We went to Sinai, and we were alone on the road. No other car. No. It's not like, I mean, we're not talking traffic jams. We're talking no traffic. The pandemic in empty cities, as you see nowadays. You saw now it's opening up in most of the world. And we went to the House of the Union of Writers, something like that, because there's this other guy I mentioned in the previous episode. It was the son of the leader of the union, known over there, As it happens, I think he ran away from home or something. But they didn't know that at the House of Union, so they said okay, gave 1 or 2 rooms, stayed there. Marius, myself, Adrian, and this other guy, I forgot his name, and Eddie, maybe. It's not really relevant because he's not, except for this and the other chess game. And no, no communication, no interaction there, except for this. And I remember when we came back, Termina, we didn't know where the road is for long distances. Because indeed it snowed. It wasn't the snow of the end of the world, doomsday, but enough to cover the road. They didn't bring anything in to take the snow off because there was no, in a way, there was no use. Who drove there except for us? Nobody. Nobody was allowed. He had German plates. Was allowed. They gave a special status to foreigners. Again, in order to have them come spend the currency, because he wanted currency. He would kick out people from hotels, or me as a guide later on, I would have to stay in, for instance, in Teleferic, in the room which had no heating, because the heating was damaged there in winter. They gave me and this other woman an apartment. It was an apartment, so couldn't give it only to me, frozen. That was a crazy situation. Ugly woman. I mean, ugly as in. Unfortunately, the butt of jokes. She would come to dinner and say, "Okay, I'm going to bed. Are you coming?" Something like that. Even if it wasn't really. I mean, we shared an apartment, but nothing else, because. And it's not just a question. I mean, I would go into those. Into this innuendo, this dark side of the story, with sex and not much else, only the primitive level, and say that from one moment on, there wasn't really a type which I would reject, unless, of course, it was something. I mean, something objectionable, not in looks, blonde, overweight. It didn't really matter so much if there was a spark there. Anyway, to finish, because I'll get cut off the line soon. Yeah, we drove in snow, and we didn't know where the road is. In proportions, you have this thing with trees on both sides of the road. And that's where we knew the road is somewhere between those trees. But for sections, it was in a field. We didn't know. The field was all covered with snow, and so was the road. Once in a while, you had the indicators. You had the kilometers, and they would say kilometer 80. You have 40 kilometers to go to the capital. But anyway.